welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla. I am a writer. I currently have one poetry collection that is published on Amazon if you're interested in picking it up, and I am working on getting myself ready for the fourth draft of the first book of a high fantasy portal pirate adventure duology, currently called Between the Waves. And like most of the most recent vlogs, today's vlog is also going to be focused on Between the Waves, specifically getting the outline ready. At the end of the last vlog, I had finished the brainstorming document at a whopping 10,000 words. So I basically have this document now that is sorting through all of the issues I was running into, all of the plot holes, all of the missing pieces that needed to be solved before I could actually rewrite the book. Not fully rewrite, but like rebuild it into something that was going to work a lot better. So I have all of that information now. The next step is for me to take all of that and build it into something that I can actually use as an outline for the next draft. So the plan for that is I have a good idea of the kind of information that I need to sort through when it comes to this document. So I'm basically going to do a couple passes of reading through this document and highlighting / organizing the information in a way that I can use to actually build out the outline. And then once I've done that, I can make the outline. So the first thing that I'm going to be looking for is information that's going to be important for book 2. So book 2 plot, book 2 character arcs, book 2 anything. Second thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through and highlighting everything that needs to be a new scene or built into a current scene. So basically any scene I'm going to highlight so that I know these are the actual tangible pieces that are going to be built into the new draft. I'm also going to highlight world building things because there have been world building developments. The nice thing actually is that nothing in the world has really changed. I think I just realized how unclear I was about certain things and also how complex entire worlds are. So like it's hard and it takes a lot of work to build a fantasy world that's going to be believable, that is supposed to have existed for, you know, thousands of years as well. So I have a ton of world building stuff that I need to kind of add to the Bible that hasn't been updated in like over a year probably. I don't think I've updated my world building Bible in ages. I think that's pretty much it actually. So I'm going to look for those 3 things, highlight them, organize them, and then I'm going to try and cut down that document so that it's not 10,000 words anymore and so that it's much more organized and structured. And then I'm going to take that whittled down information and I'm going to use that to build the official outline for draft 4. The goal is to basically front load the work and put a bunch of work into this right now so that when I'm actually drafting draft 4, it's just a lot easier and I'm not ripping my hair out and I'm not stopping every couple chapters because I don't know what's actually supposed to be going on or I've run into a world building issue or a plot hole or something. That's what we're trying to avoid. I'm gonna have some lunch and then it's like dinner at this point, but then I'm gonna go to the library and work for a bit. The good news is that I got a bunch of work done on Between the Waves. I basically went through that entire document that I had and sorted everything based on what I mentioned earlier in the video, although I did add a couple extra sections. Like I added a section that's specifically for like backstory stuff, and then I also added a section that's basically like any extra ideas that don't really have a home, I'm not 100% on, but they could be like a solution to something else. I've added those in their own section as well, and now I've already started to go through and pull everything from the section that's supposed to be for like book 1 content and new scenes, and I've started to actually like rewrite some of those just so that they're a bit shorter, because some stuff I've like over explained because I had to explain it to myself. So I've kind of edited those pieces and then stuck them into the actual outline that's already there. So I do have like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. I have sections for each act, and then I'm taking content and scenes from the book 1 section and moving them into Act 1 or Act 2, wherever they belong, but so far it's mostly Act 1. And the plan now is that I finish going through, because obviously I've like reorganized all of the information in the document, but I still need to like edit the information to shorten it, make it more readable. And also there's a lot of like repetitive information that I had to explain to myself multiple times in different ways to fully understand. So I'm cutting out all of that stuff. We've already cut the document down, so it's about 7,000 words. So I've chopped 3,000 words off of it. I imagine it'll probably be left around 5,000 words or so once I'm done with like cutting out everything unnecessary. And then once I've actually finished cutting down like the information and getting everything just cleaned up, I'm going to review Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and I'm going to build it into actual like scenes and an actual outline, because right now it's kind of just like each act and then point form notes of things that I want to happen in that act without any sort of actual structure. And then at the end of all of this, I'll probably review the entire document again and like the backstory stuff and the world building stuff and the book 2 stuff, just to make sure that I haven't missed anything. But also keeping in mind that at this point I'm definitely going to miss something. There's no way I'm going to get everything right now, but I'm going to get as much as I possibly can. And at the end of that, we should have an outline for draft 4 and I'll be able to start drafting, which I am excited about. But yeah, the bad news is that the back of my car is broken. It's okay. The car is still running. It's a mechanical thing and I'm really annoyed at it. And I've had a lot of coffee today, and I've just been a bit stressed about other stuff. So now I'm kind of having a crappy day. So tonight is self-care. I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna do a meditation, I'm gonna do some stretches and just like mobility stuff. I'm gonna light a candle. I'm probably gonna do a face mask. I'm gonna, I don't know, journal. Yeah, I'm just gonna do like self-care things that make me feel relaxed and grounded, because I'm having stress today, but I got so much done on Between the Waves. I'm very happy with how the progress is going right now. It's not like super speedy. Like I am really taking my time with this stuff because I want it to be good. I want it to be as clean as possible in this next draft. And I think that's paying off. And it is taking time, but I'm just loving the process so much right now that it's great, you know? Like I'm not trying to rush anything. I'm enjoying it. I'm having so much fun with the problem solving. I'm getting excited about the ideas, and I think that's what matters. So let's go home and have some tea and lay on the floor and meditate. Currently down at the river, as you can see from behind me. I'm on my way to the cafe. I just finished filming the coffee ketchup for today, which is like a check-in behind the scenes video that I put up on Patreon every month, kind of discussing, I don't know, stuff that I'm not ready to share on YouTube, I guess, or just like early updates and stuff like that. So I just finished filming that. That's gonna go up today, and I'm currently on my way to the cafe to continue writing and also get back into my first week back at work. So the past few weeks have been wonderful, but this week I think is going to be the first test of like how well I can keep my writing habit, especially since I'm so close to draft 4 and still doing a lot of planning stuff. I don't know, I'm curious to see how well I can work in my new writing goals into like while I'm actually doing my job as well. So yeah, we'll see. And I am absolutely gonna show you what the sunrise looks like right now. It's nothing too crazy, but it's just absolutely breathtaking. So Okay, I got home to have some lunch. Now I'm having coffee number 2. Might be a bad idea, but I worked for a couple hours this morning. I did a couple hours on work as well as a couple hours on writing because I had to wait for a bunch of videos to download for work. And they have been taking their time. So I've done a bit of like flipping back and forth kind of thing. The document is down to 6,000 words, which I feel like is basically what it was at before, but I've added a bunch of stuff as well. So like the entire Act 1 is now plotted in quite a bit of detail because that's going to change a lot. Act 2, I have tons of points. The thing with Act 2, it's not necessarily going to be discovery writing, but it is going to be, there's going to be large chunks of discovery writing. So I know things that I want to happen, like I have scenes written out, I know why they need to happen, I know generally where they need to happen, but I think I actually need to like get into the draft and start the drafting process and get through Act 1 in order to kind of like know a bit more about where those scenes are going to go. And then I have very little of Act 3. Things in Act 3 are supposed to happen basically the same way as they did in the previous draft as far as plot goes. But the thing is that there's a lot of like context and situations and feelings and like character arc pieces, I guess, that really need to be woven into Act 3. So while structurally it's going to be very similar, everything that I'm building up to in Act 1 and 2 is gonna come through in Act 3. So it's not really discovery writing, but obviously I need to get through Act 1 and 2 to like get a stronger idea for Act 3. I'm still working away at this and like outlining as much as I possibly can, but I'm also making sure to not over outline. So like there are certain situations where it's not necessary for me to add specific details because it doesn't particularly matter like how something happens, but what matters is what happens, like making sure that certain plot lines are like touched on or certain characters are affected in certain ways. But the actual details and like hyper specifics of how that happens is like not necessary at this point. I've also moved all of the information for book 2 into a book 2 master document that I actually already had. And it's very interesting. I didn't spend too much time doing it, but it was interesting to kind of like look through what I already had in there from like months ago, what I thought book 2 would look like, because a couple things are similar, but a whole bunch of it is like way off what book 2 is actually going to look like. So yeah. That's the update. Okay, so I've gotten to this point where I think the outline is as detailed as it's gonna get for now. The thing is that like I look at the outline, Act 1 is like crazy outlined for me. Like it's very well explained. There's so many details. I've been like loosely following the Save the Cat Writes a Novel beat sheet. So Act 1 like follows the beat sheet to a T, basically how I have it outlined right now. We get to Act 2 and there's still outline. Like I do have scenes written out and stuff, but it's not followed as closely. Like there's no structure followed as closely as Act 1 does. And Act 3, like I kind of mentioned, is going to be very similar structurally to how it was before, but there's just a lot of like context and other things going on with the characters and the world building and the history and the backstories and stuff that's gonna affect how Act 3 goes. And there's a little voice in my head that wants me to plot more. Like there's that little voice is telling me that I want every single beat written out and detailed so that I don't even have to think about anything when I'm doing draft 4 and I can kind of just follow the outline exactly. I don't know where that little voice is coming from though, because for me, like when I really check in with myself, I don't want to do that. Like I think for me, having everything so meticulously planned out like that actually takes away a lot of the fun for me when it comes to drafting. Obviously some of this draft is staying the same as draft 3, but since quite a bit of it is changing or kind of being rewritten, there is going to be some discovery writing. And I just feel like if I plan things or if I plot more than what I have right now, I feel like it's going to take away a lot of the fun for me, like a lot of the fun of drafting those new scenes and like keeping myself open to ideas and little tweaks here and there that might make it better. I also am feeling pretty good about it because the way that I have Act 1 planned out so well right now, it feels like I just have such a better foundation to stand on when it comes to writing the rest of the book. And it feels like the fact that I have Act 1 so well laid out with explanations of why certain things are happening because of like foreshadowing and stating the theme and like the promise that's gonna happen throughout not only the first book but also the entire duology. The fact that all of that is there, it makes me feel a lot better. It gives me a lot of reassurance that it's okay if I discovery write some of Act 2 and a lot of Act 3 because the foundation is there, and I know that as long as I stick to that and as long as I understand where I'm coming from and where I need to go, that's what matters most. So for example, in Act 3, there are there's kind of scenes written out, but overall what I actually have is a list of things that need to be wrapped up or answers that I need to have by the end of the book. So basically the end of certain arcs, promises that need to be fulfilled, plot lines that need to be tied off at the end of this book because they don't continue into the second book, and basically like where emotions need to be at the end of this. Also, I know the end, like I know how it's ending and I know where book 2 begins. So I think the most important thing for me right now is in Act 3 to have that list of things that need to happen, the way people need to be feeling, and subplots and stuff that need to be finished off, and questions that need to be answered as well as left unanswered for book 2. And as long as I have that list of things, which I do, then I actually feel like I'm in a really good place to discovery write whatever might come next. I feel like I'm using my hands a lot today. So yeah, with that, I actually think that I'm ready to start draft 4. I'm still hesitating a little bit. I think I'm going to journal about it today actually and try to sort through my thoughts a little bit, but I do think that the outline that I have right now is going to be the best for this next part of the process. I think there's enough detail and there's enough clarity, and I've answered all the questions that I needed to, and the rest can be fun, and the rest can be playing with things and seeing what works best in order to better serve the decisions that I've already made up to this point, that I've spent basically, the last month working through. So I think we're ready to start draft 2. I need to finish this vlog because it's gonna go up tomorrow. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.